Hello, I'm Therese.
I'm Kevin.
And we're the Homesteading Hills. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Today, we're going to make pickled beets. I have some beets here for my last Azure Standard order, and we're going to be putting them up and canning them today. So if you like that kind of content, come along with us on our homesteading journey and like and subscribe and share, please. So the ingredients that we're going to be using today, they're real basic, there's not a lot of them, is the 5 pounds of beets, 3.5 cups of distilled white vinegar. You need to make sure that the vinegar is 5% acidity because that is something that they recently changed, and I don't know if they've gone back. They had lowered the acidity. We need to make sure it's 5% to keep it safe to canning standards. You're going to use 2 cups of sugar, 1.5 cups of water, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and I'm using a pickling and canning salt for the main reason that it does keep your jars looking clear. We're going to use a tablespoon of allspice. I don't have allspice, I'm going to substitute cloves today, which will give a similar flavor profile, and then 2 small cinnamon sticks, and that is our ingredient list. The supplies and equipment we're going to be using are we have our jars, our lids, and our rings, as well as a water bath canner. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our beets washed up. So our beets have been boiling for about 15 minutes. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to transfer them out of the boiling water into a bowl, let them cool just long enough so that we can handle them, and then we'll begin peeling and dicing them.
So now we'll begin assembling our brine with 3.5 cups of vinegar, 1.5 cups of water, 2 cups of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, cinnamon stick, and 1 tablespoon of allspice or cloves.
This is a great time to sterilize our jars. While the brine is coming up to a boil and simmering for 15 minutes, we're going to go ahead and get our jars and sterilize them. They need to boil in a pot for 10 minutes to be sterilized.
Okay, so we have the beets all diced up. The brine has been simmering and all of the jars should be all sterilized. Now we're going to take all the sterilized jars out, put them onto a cutting board so we can begin loading the jars.
So I'm going to put my lids in some hot boiling water. The new protocol for the last couple of years, I believe, has been we don't need to do these with these new lids. And I did try not doing it once, and I had several that didn't seal in the batch that I did that with, which is not normal for me. Usually I have a pretty good seal rate. So I've gone back to going ahead and putting them in hot or boiling water for a few minutes to help with this, the ring, get it, I'm going to call it activated, to help with that. But I did try it per protocol, so this is just a step that I do just because it works for us and it doesn't hurt anything.
So now we'll work on putting all of the lids and all the rings on. And she's already wiped down all of the rims with the vinegar.
So now we're going to go ahead and load up our water bath canner. We've now put the lid on this and are waiting for this to come up to a rolling boil. At that point, we're going to let these pints process for 35 minutes. We are going 35 minutes due to the fact that we are 1,400 feet above sea level. Now, if you were 1,000 feet or less, you can go ahead and do it at the recommended time of 30 minutes.
So our timer just went off. It's been 35 minutes. We turned off the gas and removed the lid, and we're gonna let the jars sit for about 5 minutes before we remove them from the water.
Now we're going to remove the hot jars and move them onto a wooden cutting board to cool. We're going to go ahead and let these beets sit for about 24 hours, then remove the rings, place them in our pantry, and they'll be ready for us when we choose to use them. Thanks for coming along on our day today, and we hope you have a fantastic day.